Gonna try this again. I shot a video yesterday on this Everio JVC camera. It's about 14 years old. It's not the easiest thing to use. It's got a hard drive in it. I'm running off the SD card on it, which I liked. It seems to have pretty good resolution, but it's just difficult. It's got a file structure in it. If you try to delete files off the SD card on your computer, the camera doesn't like it at all, so you have to kind of do it on the camera. Anyway, I'm going to shoot this in wide angle until I get better at using it, but I've got a 4K cell phone camera that I'll probably end up using, but for the time being, I'm just doing an overview of what I'm doing here. I haven't ever done any YouTube videos. I did a short one yesterday and uploaded it. They were MOD files on this camera, and I was trying to figure out a way to... YouTube doesn't take MOV files, but I found a 14-year-old YouTube video showing how to convert a MOD file to an AVI file without using any software on Windows 10. Well, back then it wasn't Windows 10, but it worked. So I'm able to actually upload videos off this camera. And I actually kind of like this camera because JVC made a lot of really nice cameras, and they still do. JVC still makes pretty good stuff, but back then, JVC was like quality. So I'm just going to go with this for a while. Anyway, I'm back on the Pioneer amplifier. One of the reasons why I focused on this is I'm a big amplifier fan, but there's a lot of stuff that you can buy that has lots of amplification in it. A lot of these 90s and 2000s, I guess they're combination units that you use. Gosh, I can't think of the word. AV units, and they've got like so much stuff on them. I don't know what half of it does. I would never use... Here, let me show you. This thing here is a beautiful Onkyo AV unit that like does everything. It's got 48 inputs in the back, and it takes optical and HDMI, but it's really complicated to use. I mean, you have to figure out what the heck you're doing. There's stuff in here that I don't even know what it does, and a lot of the stuff that you have to do with it, you have to hook it up to a monitor. So, and then you go back to the Pioneer, and you have an on-off switch, bass treble, balance control. You know, you got a sonic thing for frequency control and all that. And it puts out 100 watts per channel, and it's only got a couple of inputs in the back. So why would you not use this to play your music? And as you can see, I've got a lot of stuff that I've accrued, and I actually listen to and use a lot of this stuff. I didn't get it to work on it. It's not all crapped out and broken. It's amazing what you can turn up at thrift stores and flea markets, and people give it to you. And you see the Fisher down there? That's a beautiful box. That's a tuner. And here's a Kai, which is like a Grail 3-head glass head cassette player, which is way over my head to work on for right now, but it actually works. The belt's getting kind of sloppy, but I put voltage through this about once every week and listen to it for half an hour just to keep the caps reformed and all that. And then you've got this thing, which is about as basic as you can get, hooked up to a mono pilot tuner. So I have all this stuff, and I need to do something with it, and I work on it, but mostly I listen to it. You see all this other garbage I have. Problem is, you get too much stuff, and you're like, what do I do with it? Well, I don't know if you've got the room for it. It's fun to have it. You be a caretaker for it, and you keep it so it doesn't sit in some dank storage unit or somebody's basement and rot. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to work on a laser disc player here. I've got it about 80% working, but you can see that this hobby, well, I hate to call it a hobby, it's more of a passion. If you've got the room and the time and you don't have to put a lot of money into it, most of the stuff I bought didn't cost very much. The most expensive thing I've had in here is probably that Fisher. I paid a couple $100 for it about 5 years ago, but it's like brand new. And I do listen to it. I got that thing for free. I also got the line conditioner with it, which is probably a $150 line conditioner. And all these speakers I got for free. So yeah, you can do this, but you have to ask yourself what you're going to do with all of this. The only reason I'm making these YouTube videos is I've got all this stuff, and I kind of know how to work on it, and I've got the tools to work on it, but I would like to do a video at some point in the near future where you watch me work on it, and I actually fix it, and you'll learn something, and I learn something. But for the time being, I'm just trying to get started here. So I'm going to stick with this one. I just ordered the schematics for it. Actually got an original hard copy on eBay. And when I get to that point, then I'll probably start checking voltages and, like I said, checking the caps. And the problem is you start screwing with something that doesn't need it, and you tend to make things worse. And not only do you make it worse, but if you get stuck, your first impulse is to move it down the line, and then it becomes somebody else's problem, and then they open it, and it's like there's a big mess in there because you used all the wrong caps in it, because you can't buy the original caps anymore, the original values. The wiring's all been clipped, moved around, resoldered. They have to start with what you screwed up. So I don't just start working on stuff if it doesn't really need it. And when I said in that video I made yesterday, the only thing that was really wrong with this thing was the pots were really dirty. But the cover, when I got it, looked like it had been dropped 3 or 4 times. And I thought maybe there was a crack trace in the board or something. But fortunately, I've been running it, and it's been working really well. And it is a simple unit, and it's easy to work on, or it's easy to run, to listen to, and it sounds really good, and it puts a huge amount of power out. Like this Onkyo A10 here is a real beast. And it's actually, I've never been able to properly use it in the house because it puts out so much power, it drives my wife insane. But it's a beautiful amplifier. So, I'm just kind of keeping it to have it, and maybe if I get to a point where I get bored, I'll probably start using it again out here in the shop. Although the only problem I have with the shop is this thing's like a giant speaker. You can see I haven't insulated the roof yet. I actually there's 1/4-inch plywood all the way around with insulation behind it, and I was trying to deaden the sound, but it comes off the roof. So if you're 50 feet away from the shop and there's something playing in here that's halfway loud, you can hear it really well outside. And I'm trying not to piss off my neighbors because I'm sure they don't want to hear whatever garbage I'm playing in here.